Mr. Sven, thank you for speaking to Neighbourhood News. Could
Yes.
you explain, giving a brief history of what this electronic identity means?
Yes, we all have a physical piece of identity which helps us to sign contracts, to get access to certain buildings, certain programs. And as the world evolves and we move into a more digital world, the question came up, how do we make sure that people are safely identified by a means which is reliable so that they can move safely in the digital space as well? So 4 years ago, there was already a federal referendum on the EID, which mainly said that private entities should hand out such electronic identities. This was rejected by the people. The main reason saying this should be a state-run scheme. So today we have another vote, a new bill, which would allow for the introduction of an electronic ID, which is certified and checked by the state.
The state recommends that we go ahead with it. What would the results mean if it is a yes? How does it go forward?
Initially, it would take some time to set up an ordinance which would clarify the legal cornerstones of the whole regulation around this electronic ID. So it will take some more time, but eventually it will be possible that citizens of this country, but also residents of this country without a Swiss citizenship will be able to apply for such an EID and then use it appropriately when moving around in a digital space.
The second referendum that we are seeing is on the imputed tax. If you could explain what does it mean and how we have reached to this point.
Yes, first and foremost, I have to excuse myself for this terrible term of the imputed tax. Essentially, it goes back to a taxing scheme that comes from the 1930s when the Swiss government was looking for additional funds in order to fight the economic crisis and later on the war efforts. The idea was that there is an assumed imbalance between people renting houses and apartments and people owning those apartments, because those who own an apartment don't need to pay rent. So this imputed value creates a fictional value which is supposed to be similar or comparable to a rent one would have to pay if one had to pay an amount renting for a house that one owns. So this system is really complex and questionable in terms of the bureaucracy that it sets and the incentives. One of the challenges that has been mentioned is that it leads to more debt being created because people basically get loans from the banks, and this puts the whole financial system of the country in imbalance. And that's one of the reasons why the government and the majority of the parliament suggested to abolish this imputed tax value.
How does it play out? It is a yes to abolish this tax.
Most likely, it will mean there's going to be fewer loans for homeowners. And as the proponents of this bill say, it will be easier for people to buy houses and apartments.
Thank you for speaking to Neighbourhood News, Mr. Sven.
You're very welcome. Thank you.